Breaking no contact too soon is one of the most common and impactful mistakes people make when navigating a difficult breakup or emotional separation. It often stems from a mixture of impatience, emotional vulnerability, and an intense longing for resolution. In the midst of this emotional turbulence, it's natural to crave clarity or closure. You might feel the need to confirm if the other person still cares or if the connection can be salvaged. However, reaching out prematurely often does more harm than good. Instead of healing, it reopens wounds that are still fresh, leaving both individuals unprepared to handle the complexities of the conversation. One of the key reasons breaking no contact too soon is problematic is because it disrupts the process of emotional detachment. When a relationship ends, your mind and heart need time to adjust to the absence of the other person. This period of silence is not just about ignoring them, it's about recalibrating your emotional state and regaining control over your own well-being. By cutting this process short, you deny yourself the opportunity to find stability. Instead of building emotional resilience, you remain tethered to the emotional highs and lows of the relationship, making it harder to move forward or make clear-headed decisions. Another issue with reaching out too early is that it often leads to interactions that feel forced or unproductive. Imagine contacting someone when neither of you has had time to process what went wrong or how you truly feel. In most cases, the conversation lacks depth or resolution. Worse, it might reignite old arguments or unresolved feelings, leaving you in a more painful position than before. The other person may also interpret your reaching out as a sign of desperation or emotional instability, which can create a power imbalance. Instead of fostering meaningful reconnection, these interactions can reinforce the reasons the relationship ended in the first place. Time and space are essential for reflection and self-growth. During the no-contact period, you have the chance to look inward and assess not only the relationship, but also your role in it. Were there patterns that contributed to the breakup? Are there aspects of yourself you want to improve? This period of introspection allows you to approach the situation with greater clarity and emotional maturity. However, when you break no contact too soon, you often miss out on this vital stage of growth. The impulse to reach out becomes a distraction, pulling you away from the work you need to do on yourself. Breaking no contact too soon can also blur the boundaries you're trying to establish. Boundaries are crucial for creating a sense of emotional safety, both for yourself and the other person. They provide structure and a sense of control during a time when emotions are running high. When you violate these boundaries by reaching out, you send a message to yourself and the other person that you're not fully committed to the healing process. This inconsistency can make it harder to rebuild trust or respect should you decide to reconnect in the future. It's also important to consider the timing and readiness of the other person. Just because you feel ready to reach out doesn't mean they are. They may still be processing their own emotions or working through their own healing journey. Contacting them prematurely can disrupt their progress and even push them further away. It's essential to recognize that no contact isn't just about your healing, it's also about giving the other person the time and space they need. The urge to break no contact often comes from a place of fear of losing the connection, fear of being forgotten, or fear of the unknown. These fears are valid, but they're not productive. Acting on them usually leads to outcomes that confirm your worst fears, creating a cycle of anxiety and regret. Instead of giving in to these emotions, it's important to remind yourself of the purpose of no contact. It's not about punishing the other person or playing games. It's about giving both of you the opportunity to heal, reflect, and grow. It's worth noting that the longer you stay in no contact, the clearer things become. With time, you gain perspective on the relationship and its dynamics. You start to see the situation more objectively, which helps you make better decisions about how to move forward. This clarity is invaluable, and it's something that can only be achieved through patience and self-discipline. Breaking no contact too soon robs you of this perspective, leaving you stuck in a fog of emotion and uncertainty. If you ever feel tempted to reach out before you're truly ready, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what do I hope to achieve by contacting them? Am I prepared for the possibility that they may not respond the way I want? Have I done the emotional work needed to approach this situation with clarity and composure? If the answer to these questions is no, it's a sign that you need more time. In the end, staying committed to no contact is an act of self-respect. It's a way of prioritizing your emotional health and allowing yourself the space to heal. Breaking it too soon might provide temporary relief, but it often leads to long-term regret. By honoring the process and giving yourself time, you set the foundation for healthier relationships, whether that's with the same person or someone new in the future. Using no contact as a manipulation tactic is one of the most misguided approaches to navigating a breakup or emotional separation. The no contact rule, at its core, is intended to help individuals regain clarity, heal, and rediscover their sense of self. However, when it is used as a tool to provoke a reaction, evoke guilt, or coerce the other person into a response, its true purpose is lost, and the results can be damaging for both parties. This approach not only undermines the healing process but also perpetuates unhealthy dynamics that may have contributed to the relationship's difficulties in the first place. Manipulating someone through silence may appear to work initially, as it can create curiosity or concern in the other person. They might wonder why you've suddenly pulled away or feel compelled to check in. But any interaction that stems from such manipulation is unlikely to lead to genuine reconnection or resolution. The other person's response, if it comes, will often be tinged with confusion, frustration, or even resentment. Instead of fostering meaningful communication, this tactic typically deepens misunderstandings and reinforces the emotional distance you were trying to bridge. When you use no contact as a game to elicit specific reactions, you risk becoming trapped in a cycle of unproductive behavior. The focus shifts from genuine self-improvement to monitoring whether your silence is working. This can lead to obsessively checking social media for signs of their reaction, overanalyzing their lack of response, or crafting scenarios in your head about what they're thinking or feeling. Such behaviors not only drain your energy, but also keep you emotionally tethered to the other person, preventing you from moving forward and truly healing. It's important to recognize that relationships built on manipulation are inherently unstable. Using no contact as a power play sets a precedent that interactions between you and the other person are transactional rather than authentic. It conveys the message that you are not focused on personal growth or emotional maturity, but are instead prioritizing control or validation. This can erode trust and respect, making it even more difficult to rebuild a healthy dynamic in the future, should the opportunity arise. One of the underlying reasons people resort to using no contact as a manipulation tactic is fear of being forgotten, fear of losing control, or fear of rejection. These fears are natural, but acting on them in a way that seeks to control the other person's behavior only prolongs the pain and confusion for both parties. Instead of addressing these fears internally and working towards self-assurance, manipulation externalizes them, turning the no-contact period into a means of avoiding personal responsibility. True healing and growth come from within, not from the reactions or validations of others. The no-contact period is a valuable opportunity to reflect on what went wrong in the relationship and what lessons can be learned moving forward. It's a chance to take stock of your own needs, desires, and boundaries, as well as to understand how they align with those of the other person. When no contact is used manipulatively, this opportunity is squandered, as the focus remains fixated on the other person rather than on yourself. Using no contact as a manipulation tactic can also backfire in significant ways. The other person may recognize what you're doing and become less inclined to engage with you. They may feel that their emotions are being disregarded or that they're being played, which can lead to frustration, anger, or a firm decision to move on. Additionally, if they do respond, it's likely to be out of obligation, guilt, or curiosity rather than a genuine desire to reconnect. These responses are often short-lived and superficial, leaving you feeling even more unfulfilled and disconnected. To truly benefit from the no-contact period, it's essential to approach it with the right mindset. This means focusing on self-care, self-awareness, and self-improvement rather than on the other person's reactions. It's about creating space for both individuals to heal and grow independently, without the pressure of external expectations. When no contact is practiced authentically, it allows for the possibility of genuine reconnection in the future, one that is based on mutual respect and understanding rather than on manipulation or power dynamics. It's also important to acknowledge that no contact is not a guarantee of reconciliation. It's a process designed to help you find clarity and emotional stability, regardless of the outcome. If reconciliation does occur, it should be because both parties have had the time and space to reflect on their feelings and are ready to approach the relationship from a healthier perspective. Manipulation undermines this process, as it prioritizes immediate gratification over long-term growth and resolution. If you find yourself tempted to use no contact as a means of eliciting a reaction, take a moment to pause and reflect on your intentions. Ask yourself whether your actions are coming from a place of self-respect and healing, or from a desire to control the other person's behavior. Remind yourself that genuine connection cannot be forced or coerced. It must be built on trust, authenticity, and mutual willingness. By embracing the no-contact period as a time for self-discovery and growth, you empower yourself to move forward with confidence and clarity. You give yourself the opportunity to heal, to gain perspective, and to build a stronger foundation for future relationships. Manipulation may offer the illusion of control in the short term, but true strength comes from focusing on your own journey and trusting that whatever is meant to be will unfold naturally. Staying too connected through social media during a no-contact period is a mistake that can significantly undermine the healing process. While it might seem harmless to check in on what the other person is doing, this behavior often keeps you emotionally tethered and prevents you from moving forward. Social media, by design, offers only a curated glimpse into someone's life. When emotions are still raw, it's easy to misinterpret posts, overanalyze their meaning, or project your feelings onto what you see. This habit can quickly turn into a cycle of obsession, pulling you further away from the clarity and peace that no contact is supposed to bring. The problem lies in the illusion of proximity that social media creates. Even though you may not be speaking directly, watching their stories, liking their posts, or even scrolling through their feed keeps them present in your mind. Instead of allowing yourself the space to heal, you're constantly reminded of their existence. This virtual connection prevents you from fully detaching and often reinforces feelings of longing, regret, or even jealousy. You might start wondering why they seem happy without you, who they're spending time with, or whether they're moving on. These thoughts can spiral into unnecessary pain and self-doubt, making it harder to focus on your own recovery. What makes this mistake particularly tricky is how accessible social media is. It takes just a few seconds to open an app and search for someone's profile, but the emotional consequences can last much longer. Every time you see a photo, a post, or even just their name online, it can trigger a flood of emotions that set back your progress. The temptation to analyze their activity or find hidden meanings in their posts can become all-consuming, leaving you stuck in a loop of overthinking and self-inflicted heartache. Instead of using this time to prioritize your healing, you end up expending energy on someone who isn't actively part of your life. There's also the risk of unintentionally revealing your own emotional state through your own online activity. Posting vague or emotional updates, sharing photos designed to provoke a reaction, or even engaging in indirect communication through mutual friends can send mixed signals. These actions may feel cathartic in the moment, but they often come across as attempts to elicit a response, drawing you further into a cycle of unhealthy interaction. Such behavior undermines the boundaries you're trying to establish and can create unnecessary drama or misunderstanding. Another aspect to consider is how staying connected through social media impacts your ability to focus on self-growth. The no-contact period is an opportunity to redirect your energy toward yourself, to rediscover your interests, build new habits, and work on becoming the best version of yourself. When you're preoccupied with what the other person is doing online, you miss out on this chance for personal development. Instead of using this time constructively, you remain emotionally stuck, unable to fully embrace the possibilities of your own journey. To truly honor the no-contact period, it's essential to establish firm digital boundaries. This might mean unfollowing, muting, or even blocking the other person to create the space you need. While these actions can feel drastic or final, they're often necessary for protecting your emotional well-being. Taking control of your online environment helps break the cycle of constant reminders and gives you the freedom to focus on yourself without distractions. It's not about being petty or vindictive, it's about prioritizing your own healing and recognizing that true detachment requires a clean break, not just in real life, but in the digital world as well. Ultimately, staying too connected through social media prevents the no-contact rule from serving its purpose. It keeps you tied to the past and clouds your ability to move forward with clarity and strength. By removing the temptation to engage or observe, you create the conditions needed for true healing. This period is about you, your growth, your peace, and your future. Social media can wait. Failing to focus on personal growth during the no-contact period is one of the biggest mistakes people make, often without even realizing it. The time spent in no contact is a rare opportunity to turn inward, reflect, and rebuild yourself in meaningful ways. However, many people use this period to dwell on the past, obsess over the other person, or endlessly speculate about what might happen in the future. This fixation on someone else takes away the attention and energy that should be directed toward your own healing and growth, ultimately delaying the progress you're hoping to achieve. When a relationship ends, it's natural to feel lost or uncertain about who you are without that connection. The no-contact period is meant to give you the space to rediscover yourself. Yet, instead of embracing this time for self-discovery, many people fall into the trap of focusing on what the other person is doing or how they might feel. Questions like, "Are they missing me?" or "What if they're moving on?" dominate their thoughts, leaving little room for personal development. This mindset keeps you emotionally stuck in the relationship, preventing you from moving forward and finding a sense of independence. Growth requires active effort, and that effort starts with shifting your focus inward. Instead of ruminating on the past or speculating about the future, use this time to reflect on your own needs, desires, and values. What did you learn from the relationship? Are there patterns or habits you want to change? This is not about blaming yourself or dwelling on mistakes, but rather about gaining insight and clarity that can guide you toward healthier relationships in the future. Taking responsibility for your own growth allows you to break free from old cycles and start creating a version of yourself that feels stronger, more confident, and more aligned with your true self. Another common mistake during the no contact period is neglecting self-care. Emotional pain can be all-consuming, making it easy to overlook your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Yet, these are the very areas that need your attention the most. Engaging in activities that nurture your body and mind, such as exercise, meditation, journaling, or pursuing hobbies, can help you rebuild your sense of self-worth and bring a sense of stability to your life. By taking care of yourself, you not only accelerate your healing process, but also send a powerful message to yourself that you are worthy of love and attention, starting with your own. The no-contact period is also an ideal time to explore new opportunities and experiences that you may have put on hold during the relationship. Relationships often require compromise, and it's common for people to set aside personal goals or interests to prioritize the partnership. Now is your chance to revisit those dreams or try something entirely new. Whether it's learning a new skill, traveling, or reconnecting with old friends, these experiences can bring fresh perspectives and a renewed sense of purpose. They remind you that life is full of possibilities and that your happiness is not dependent on any single person or relationship. One of the most rewarding aspects of focusing on personal growth during this time is the sense of empowerment it brings. When you invest in yourself, you begin to realize that you have control over your own happiness and fulfillment. This realization is incredibly liberating, especially after a breakup, when it's easy to feel like your happiness is tied to someone else's presence in your life. By channeling your energy into growth and self-improvement, you reclaim your power and build a foundation of self-respect and resilience. Failing to focus on personal growth during no contact also has long-term consequences. If you don't take the time to address the underlying issues or patterns that may have contributed to the relationship's challenges, you risk repeating the same mistakes in the future. Whether you eventually reconnect with the same person or enter a new relationship, personal growth ensures that you approach it from a place of strength and awareness. Without this growth, you're likely to carry unresolved baggage into your next chapter, making it harder to build healthy and lasting connections. The key to making the most of the no-contact period is to treat it as a gift rather than a punishment. Yes, it's painful to be separated from someone you care about, but it's also an opportunity to focus entirely on yourself, something that can be hard to do when you're in a relationship. Embrace this time as a chance to grow, to heal, and to rediscover your own identity. The work you do now will not only help you move forward, but will also set the stage for a future filled with healthier relationships and greater personal fulfillment. By focusing on your growth, you honor yourself in the process of healing. You transform the no-contact period from a time of waiting into a time of becoming. This is your moment to invest in yourself, to nurture your dreams, and to build a life that reflects your worth and potential. Use it wisely. Overanalyzing every detail during the no-contact period is a common trap that many people fall into, and it can be one of the most emotionally draining mistakes. After a breakup or separation, it's natural for your mind to replay events, conversations, and moments in search of answers or hidden meanings. You might find yourself dissecting the last text they sent, trying to interpret their tone, or revisiting old arguments to figure out what went wrong. While this behavior is understandable, it often keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and confusion, preventing you from finding the clarity and peace that no contact is meant to provide. The urge to analyze everything stems from a deep desire to make sense of the situation. When a relationship ends, there's often a sense of unfinished business or unanswered questions. It's tempting to believe that if you can just figure out why something happened or what the other person is thinking, you'll feel better or more in control. However, the truth is that overanalyzing rarely provides the closure you're looking for. Instead, it keeps you trapped in the past, reliving moments that you can't change, and creating hypothetical scenarios that only fuel your anxiety. One of the dangers of overanalyzing is that it distorts your perspective. When you're constantly dissecting every detail, you lose sight of the bigger picture. You might start to blame yourself entirely for the breakup, focusing on every perceived mistake you made. Or you might assign undue significance to minor actions or words from the other person. This kind of thinking can lead to feelings of guilt, regret, or even anger, none of which are conducive to healing. By fixating on the details, you miss the opportunity to step back and see the relationship as a whole, including the lessons it has to offer and the reasons it may have needed to end. Another issue with overanalyzing is that it feeds into a cycle of emotional dependency. The more you focus on the other person and their actions, the more you reinforce the idea that your sense of closure or peace depends on them. This mindset can make you feel powerless, as though your emotional well-being is tied to someone else's behavior or decisions. In reality, closure and healing come from within, and the no-contact period is your chance to reclaim that power. By letting go of the need to overanalyze, you create space for self-reflection and growth, allowing you to move forward on your own terms. Overanalyzing can also create false narratives that lead to unnecessary stress. When you're constantly trying to interpret someone else's behavior or intentions, it's easy to jump to conclusions that may not be accurate. For example, you might assume that their silence means they've moved on, or that a vague social media post is directed at you. These assumptions are often based on your own fears or insecurities rather than on reality, and they can cause you to spiral into feelings of rejection or inadequacy. Letting go of these narratives is crucial for maintaining your emotional balance during the no-contact period. One way to break free from the cycle of overanalyzing is to focus on what you can control: your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. When you find yourself obsessing over a particular detail or scenario, try to redirect your energy towards something productive or grounding. Journaling, meditation, or talking to a trusted friend can help you process your emotions without getting lost in analysis. Remind yourself that it's okay not to have all the answers right now. Sometimes the clarity you're seeking comes with time and distance, not with overthinking. It's also important to practice self-compassion during this time. Overanalyzing often comes with a heavy dose of self-criticism, as you replay moments where you think you could have done things differently. Instead of dwelling on what you perceive as mistakes, try to view them as opportunities for growth. No one is perfect, and relationships are complex, involving two people with their own emotions, needs, and flaws. By being kinder to yourself, you can begin to let go of the need to scrutinize every detail and instead focus on healing and moving forward. Another helpful perspective is to recognize that not everything needs to be understood or resolved right away. Some questions may never have clear answers, and that's okay. Accepting uncertainty can be a powerful step toward emotional freedom. The no-contact period is not about solving every mystery or reliving every moment, but about giving yourself the time and space to heal. The more you focus on the present and what you can do to care for yourself, the less power the past will have over you. In the end, overanalyzing keeps you anchored to the very things you're trying to move on from. It's a distraction from the real work of healing and growth, which requires patience, self-awareness, and a willingness to let go of the need for constant answers. By choosing to focus on your own journey instead of obsessing over the details, you honor the purpose of the no-contact period and create the foundation for a healthier and more balanced future. One of the most significant mistakes people make during a no-contact period is expecting immediate results or clear signs of change. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the silence or space will quickly lead to clarity, emotional resolution, or even a swift reconciliation. However, the truth is that no-contact periods are about more than just waiting for things to get better on their own. They require patience, consistency, and a deep commitment to personal healing, which unfolds at its own pace. Expecting immediate results not only leads to disappointment, but also undermines the deeper purpose of the process. When we enter a no-contact period, it's often because we are seeking some form of emotional closure, healing, or growth. However, many people mistakenly believe that after a certain period of time, they should start seeing immediate or dramatic changes. They may expect to wake up one day feeling completely over the breakup, or, on the flip side, anticipate that the other person will suddenly reach out with an apology or an explanation. These expectations create a false sense of urgency and pressure, both of which can hinder the natural healing process. In reality, emotional healing takes time. It is a gradual process that happens when we allow ourselves the space to fully feel and process our emotions, rather than rushing through them or expecting them to disappear quickly. Expecting immediate results from the no-contact period often leads to frustration, as we might find ourselves stuck in the same emotional patterns or still longing for answers that aren't ready to come. This sense of impatience can cause us to doubt the effectiveness of the no-contact rule, even though it is still doing its work beneath the surface. What's even more problematic is the tendency to use the no-contact period as a way of testing the other person. People often wonder, how long will it take for them to contact me? Or will they miss me enough to reach out? This approach turns the no-contact period into a sort of game, where the goal is to get the other person to act in a specific way. Such an approach is misguided because it doesn't allow for genuine healing. It's rooted in an expectation of external validation, which can prevent you from finding peace within yourself. Waiting for someone else to take the first step is a dangerous trap that leaves you waiting on things you cannot control. Another common issue with expecting immediate results is the tendency to misinterpret progress. Healing doesn't always look like a straight line. There may be days when you feel like you've made great strides, and other days when the pain feels just as fresh as it did at the start of the no-contact period. This ebb and flow of emotions can be discouraging if you're expecting a linear path toward healing. However, the ups and downs are a natural part of the process. By letting go of the need for clear and immediate results, you allow yourself to be more accepting of the slower, nonlinear progression of healing. Every day you spend focusing on yourself, even if it doesn't feel like monumental progress, is still a step toward greater emotional strength and clarity. In many cases, the best results from a no-contact period aren't necessarily immediate. They may take weeks, months, or even longer to fully manifest. This is because true healing requires time to reorient yourself emotionally and mentally. The first few days or weeks of no contact may feel like an intense detox as you purge yourself of the emotional intensity of the relationship. Only after that initial period can you begin to rebuild, rediscovering your independence, setting healthier boundaries, and gaining clarity about your future. Expecting results too quickly undermines this essential phase of emotional restoration and can even cause you to give up on the process prematurely. The key to making the most of the no-contact period is to focus on the long-term benefits rather than on short-term results. Instead of obsessing over how quickly you'll feel better or when the other person will reach out, use the time to focus on yourself. Take small, consistent steps toward healing, whether that's practicing self-care, setting new goals, or cultivating new hobbies. These actions not only help you move forward, but also prepare you for a more fulfilling future, regardless of what happens with the relationship. The no-contact period is about creating the conditions for personal growth, and growth cannot be rushed. Moreover, setting realistic expectations for the no-contact period allows you to embrace the uncertainty and discomfort that comes with it. It's not always going to be easy, and there will be days when you feel like giving up. But by accepting that healing and clarity will come when they are meant to, and not necessarily on your timeline, you create space for the natural process to unfold. It's this acceptance that ultimately leads to deeper healing and greater emotional resilience. True healing, personal growth, and clarity take time and effort. The no-contact period is not a magic fix, but rather a tool to help you move through the complexities of emotions in a healthy way. Expecting immediate results puts unnecessary pressure on the process and can rob you of the opportunity to fully engage in your own growth. Let go of the need for instant gratification and trust that with patience and consistency, the benefits of no contact will emerge in due course. Healing will come, but it requires you to trust the process and remain committed to your own well-being.